Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So my sister, my brother, let's have a conversation today about doing scary things. So we all know we can talk about all the, kind of cliched acronyms and fear, false evidence appearing real, and what's the other one? Fear, feel it and run? No, feel it and rise. I've heard that one before. We can talk about how it's important to get out of your comfort zone. But, these all just become words and things. And so the only way that we truly understand experiences, my belief, is that we actually experience them. We don't talk about them, but we actually experience them in some way. And so I did a thing recently that I've been wanting to do for a while. And I did the thing about a year, not even a year ago. It was May of 2018. And I went to one, it didn't really work out. It was not at my level. And so last night, I'm going to say this was my first official hip-hop dance class. Now, you may not know this, but I'm a really good dancer in my kitchen. Or so I think. You know that thing where it's like, what you think you look like and then what you actually look like? It literally could be just that. But I have had this feeling inside of me for a couple years of I really want to take a dance class. Okay, now I've never taken a dance class in my life. No, you know what? Scratch that. That's a lie. When I was maybe 11, I remember taking a jazz ballet class once a week, but I don't remember any of it. I remember when it came to, I maybe did for a couple months, and then when it came to there was some kind of a recital or something, I think I just bailed. I don't think I even told my parents that it was going on. I just stopped going. I was terrified of that. So we'll say that was, the time has basically just squashed all that out, right? But I've never taken a dance class before. Just say it like that. And so here I am. When I was first started looking into it a year ago, I was like, oh, I'm 49. I'm going to be in class with 18, 19-year-old women, or maybe there's men too. I don't know. And so the one I went to last night was phenomenal. But yeah, a year ago, or almost a year ago, I went to one. They said it was beginner. I get in there. It's all very uncomfortable. It's this very small room. Instantly go to choreography. I'm lost by probably 15 minutes in. And then later find out, they go, oh yeah, there was a lot of women have been dancing in the studio for a while. So it's really an intermediate class. I'm like, okay, would have been good for me to know, the first timer, right? So the class I went to last night was at a different studio. And so, I know it's coming up and I'm like, okay, I'm committed to it. And I'll tell you what, my oldest son, Tyson, inspired me to do this. He has been taking skating lessons, and he did the first level, and then he passed through the second one. Second one, he didn't pass it once. So, they will have to make sure they have the skills, right? Kind of like with swimming lessons and anything else, but... And so he did a second time. He was upset about it a second time, and then he didn't pass it again. And so, he's totally beating himself up about it. I'm stupid, never doing this again. I remember when that happened, he just was having a meltdown. I said, Tyson, listen to me. And I then had every time that I had failed something in life, some that I never even shared with other people other than those that are really close to me, I told him about them. I failed this, I failed that, this never happened. I didn't get into school. I failed this. And, I was wanting to kind of shake him up and see, hey, failure it's not even failure. You're going to do things where it doesn't turn out the way you want it, and it's okay. And it doesn't mean that you're stupid or you failed, or it's it is a part of life to have these things not work out. But in his little 9-year-old brain, he was just stuck in the story of I didn't do it and all the feelings he felt with it, right? And my big-hearted, empath boy, he feels big, like me, like his mama. And so it was maybe 2 months ago, and I was talking to the boys about, it was November or so, and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to start looking into maybe things that you want to do come the new year, like after school on Saturdays. Kai really wanted to continue with his swim lessons. Looking into maybe doing, so they both love art, especially my youngest Kai, maybe do some art classes and just some fun stuff. I've definitely been the parent for a number of years. Both of us has been just like, I don't want my kids in all these lessons, into sports at such a young age where they're so intense and it's so competitive and there's so much pressure. I was just like, just let them be kids. But however, when I grew up, it's a different world than the way it is now. Kids don't play. There's no kids next door. Like, you don't go ride bikes in the city, at least where I am. Like, it's just not there. So it's like, okay, let's start to create some things where they can meet more kids and have more experiences, because the whole just kind of kicking it with your friends in the neighborhood is how we grew up as parents, or as young kids. But that's not really the way it is today. So Tyson says to me, he's like, you know what, Mommy? Because the whole skating thing, I just kind of let him. If he's like, he really doesn't want to do it, okay, I'm not going to push him. We talked about it at that time, and then I just kind of let it go. And so he turns to me and goes, you know what, Mommy? I'm going to try skating one more time. But if I don't pass it, then I'm out. And I went, okay, buddy. Yeah, that seems like a fair agreement to me. And I said, on top of that, let's figure out what the skills are that, are still a little tricky for you, and we'll work on them. Like, there's open ice time, and just you and me, buddy. We'll go and work on the skills, because I figure skated for about 5 years, is from 8 to maybe 13 or so. And so it's funny, when I got back on skates at his first lesson, so I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago. And I was like, God, I haven't been on skates since I don't know, maybe my 20s, and now I'm 50, and I was like, whoo, it's like riding a bike. I'm like, here we go, back on skates. It was fun to be on skates again. And so I said, listen, mommy's good. Mommy's a good skater. I can help you with those things, right? So I was like, okay. And then I thought about it. I'm like, man, I'm so proud of this kid, which I told Tyson as well. And then it literally flashed in my mind. I'm like, that hip hop dance class thing. Because I still had this feeling, even though I had that experience with the one class, and I really just said, okay, I didn't go, I'm not supposed to be taking dance classes. I just went, this place isn't a fit for me. It's clearly an intermediate class. I'm completely out of my league. It's not about, it's hard for me. It's just not even appropriate. There's no basic skills taught. It just was not a fit. It just was, right? So something came through me and was like, you got to do that dance class. And so I got up, I go to my computer, I knew there was another studio in town that I had seen that's a bigger hip hop studio, and I was like, take a look. I'm like, yeah, Wednesday nights, 7. I go, yeah, like that better, because the other classes I looked at were at 8:30 at night. I'm like, God, I'm tired by then, man. 7 to 8, I'm like, that's cool. I can still be back home and get the boys, be able to do snuggle time, read them for them before bed. I like that. And so I signed up, and then I told Tyson, I'm like, dude, you so inspired me. Here's why. And so then leading up to this, I have to get I don't know, kind of certain clothes. I could wear Lulu tights, but you got to wear a baggy shirt. It's hip hop, right? Had to get different shoes. And so I got my shoes yesterday. And as it's getting hours before now I have to leave, I'm getting a little nervous. I'm getting a little freaked out. I'm a little scared. Who's going to be there? And am I going to make a fool of myself? And all these stories and things that we tell ourselves, right? But yet, here I go, out the door, about 6:20, drive there, allow extra time. I get parking right away. So now I'm like, oh great, now I gotta sit in my car now. So I'm voxing my friend Jill, so I'm sitting out here, about ready to go in this class. I'm like, I'm not full on freaking out, but I'm nervous. I'm nervous. It's one thing, even told my kids, it's one thing to dance in the kitchen, dance with you guys. It's another thing to dance in front of other people. I was never, when I was at the time of the partying age, it's there was no clubs. There's bars. You just drank and you got loaded and you thought you looked good out there on the dance floor, kind of, sort of, but there was no dancing for hours, and it just wasn't, it was pubs and bars. You were there to drink and or to meet somebody if you weren't already with somebody. And, So I drive over there, I wait at the parking lot and box my friend Jill, and then I'm like, okay, so then I go in and the door's locked. There's the classes that are going on. There's some parents waiting outside, and I'm standing there going I wonder what they're thinking of me. They thinking that I'm picking my kids up too? I'm standing there holding these shoes in my hand, a a water bottle. Doesn't kind of look like I'm picking up kids, but I'm like, okay. So I'm getting some nervous energy. I'm like walking around, kind of pacing. Finally, someone comes down because they must probably close the door because it's at night. It's downtown and stuff. Not that it's really unsafe in Victoria by any means, but just, safety for the kids and probably people's stuff. And I'm sure they've got the two, like the studios where they have the classes are closed. So maybe no one can kind of see what's coming and going. It's an old building. And so finally someone comes down, opens the door. We go up and I kind of check in. And then I'm sitting there in the kind of little waiting area when one class with, some kids are ending. And then, we're then to go into that studio. And so I'm hearing them talk, some other people, and then I can see this interaction. I'm like, oh, I think she's the teacher. And she's talking about stuff. Now she's 41. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Because the class I signed up for was like 30 plus. I'm like, okay, this is good. So I know the youngest I'm going to be there is someone who's 30, not 18. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm going to be there with like women and not just like really young girls and all of that stuff. And so then I can start to see them, like they're all kind of knowing each other. And I'm like, oh no, is this like that other studio? Is this going to be, but I'm just like, let me just sit here, and I'm nervous, for me, when I'm nervous, I'm not really smiling much. I'm just trying to kind of like calm myself, just kind of know where I can do except sit in this chair. So my normal MO to release like stress and anxiety is to move, but like I can't do that. So they're talking, and then finally the woman who did end up being the teacher introduces herself to me, and she's very lovely and kind, and it's all good, right? And then the class comes out, and we all kind of go in, and then I'm standing there, and I'm like, okay, and there's just 5 of us, which is good, but then it's like, oh my God, there's just 5 of us, like, and it's this huge room, and big mirror, and hardwood floors, and this old building, like super high ceilings, and kind of what you think a traditional dance to, at least to me, kind of looks like. And then we just kind of start doing a warm up, and she kind of checks in with each of us, and I kind of share like, this is brand new for me, but you know what? And then as soon as we kind of got into the warm up, and then I can feel inside of me, I'm like, this is fun. And then we started doing a little bit of choreography, and I wasn't perfect at it by any means. And I was just like, no, Karen, just stay open. And teacher again was lovely. The other women were like, great. Didn't feel any stuff from it. And quite honestly, when you're really focusing and trying to do something, I'm not even really, another the women are there. I'm not looking at them. So I'm sure they're not looking at me. And even if they were, who cared, right? But here's the biggest takeaway I got from this whole thing. And it was a blast. And suddenly she's like, hey, so we're going to go through it one more time because it's like 8 o'clock now. And I'm like, holy shit, an hour went by. I'm thinking in my head, like, wow. And this was fun. Like, it was fun. And was it still hard for me? Yes. Am I using a part of my brain? Even though I've been physical most of my adult life and lifted weights and boxed and done yoga, it's different now to take different movements and remember them, put them in your body, and then put them to music. Like, it's a very different experience. So it's using a part of my brain that's new, right? And I didn't go, oh, I got that wrong or beat myself up. I was just like, okay, let me just be open. I'm only here to have fun. And I'm here for me. And I feel because, I want to like dance. Like I want to move my body this way. Like this is something I just felt so called to do, but yet it scared the hell out of me. Because of the stories I held, because I'm afraid what people are going to think, because I'm like, who am I as a 50-year-old woman to go and do this thing and a mom with 2 kids and like, what? Like, this isn't for me. People who dance, they're young and they've been doing this for a while and da-da-da-da-da. And I just, again, with Tyson going, I'm going to do this thing. Mommy, I'm going to face this fear. And I was like, yeah, me too. I'm going to do this too. And doing scary things, again, the whole takeaway from this is an absolutely vital part of our growth as human beings. Now, I know you can take this in cognitively, and it might just be here at this level for you, and there's no judgment. Something I said the word level, that's not the right word. That can be just what, you're like, yeah, do that, right? But I want you I'm going to invite you in to seeing it even like a deeper space. And I want you to think back on times in your life where you did overcome something, because we all have, by the way, we all have. Whether or not you're opening yourself up to remembering what that thing was, but we have all done a scary thing. And most likely on the other side of that, we didn't die. we didn't, there wasn't the story of the thing that we thought would happen or that could happen. Life didn't fall apart. And I'm going to have you consider that whether or not it became a, quote, successful, quote unquote, thing or not, you most likely, whether in the moment or looked back and said, yeah, I did that thing. Like, yay me, right? And you went, wow. And something inside you expanded. Something inside you made you stand up a little bit taller, and it wasn't ego. And something inside you, that higher self, that truer self, that authentically who you are. Authentic is such a shitty word these days because it's so used, but it is authentically you. And that moment that did that thing that scared you, and you did it. And you got through it. And it was just like this, like expansion, like poo, like a firework suddenly went off, and you expanded and you became more of you. Now, imagine that you do that now on a regular basis. Now, it doesn't have to mean you sign up for all different classes, like maybe in the dance class, but it could mean that you go and you talk to, I don't know, a mom you've been seeing at the kid's school, and you're like, she looks kind of cool. Maybe we could like hang out, be friends. Like maybe you ask that mom out on a date. You ask, you go to play with the kids, right? It could be that maybe you share something with somebody else that's like scary. You're sharing a truth with someone who's safe. Maybe it's, you put something out on social media, you write something, you share something, and that's scary, by the way, right? And really, what is it when we do those things that are scary? We're being vulnerable. We're exposing something. That's hard, right? Maybe you sign up for a race or a yoga class, or, even when I started doing spin about a year and a bit ago, it felt scary to me to go to a new gym. I was so used to the CrossFit kind of style of gym, had been there for a while, moved in Alberta. Even when I started boxing, that was scary. When I did one-on-one boxing, and then when I went to some group classes, that was scary because I literally was there with a bunch of like 18 to 23-year-olds. And like mostly guys, young men at that age. It's a different vibe, right? Like it's very, like the testosterone is just dripping from the rim. But I'm like, okay, well, I'm here to train. I'm here to box. Like, let's just kind of do this. Scary for me to get in the ring and start to spar. Scary to get punched, like really punched in the face for the first time. And each of those experiences, and the ones I've had before that, and the ones that I will have after that, help me to grow. And they do the same thing for you. And so here's your more tip for today. I want you to pick one thing, okay? And you're going to do this in the next 12 hours. Now, it can be something where it's kind of like me, like you're signing up for a class, right? So maybe you can't do the thing, but you're signing up for something, right? You're putting down money. You're paying for like a 5K, 10K race that you're doing. You've signed up for, yoga class, and you're like, there's one tonight. Oh, well, I can't go tonight because no. You just go, I'm going to do that. Like the more that you can actually move forward swiftly in something, the less space and time your brain has to try to talk you out of it. You feel that? And so don't go, I'll do that next week. No, in the next 12 hours, like even better, as soon as this episode ends, listen to the whole thing. As soon as it ends, go, because I know there's something right now in your mind of something you've been wanting to do, or something scary, something you've been thinking about, something that you really feel called in your heart to do, right? For me, like dance was really, physicality, like moving my body, like music, it's important for me. It's a lot of who I am. And so, this was what really has been pulling me. So it's going to be something most likely that's really pulling your heart, or there's a calling, or there's a voice inside of you that says, do that thing. Okay? And your brain /ego/fear has come forward and said, oh, no. Let me give you the long list of reasons why you should not do that thing. Because it's not safe. And you're going to get hurt. And people are going to laugh. And what are they going to think of you? And you're just going to feel like the last time. So the sooner that you can just go, no, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to allow ego and fear to start to whisper in my ear. I'm just going to do that thing and not even give it the time, space, energy, the breath to speak, then you're moving forward and you're just doing it, right? You know, it's interesting when I watch my kids in swim lessons or any other kind of lessons for that matter, they don't really have that thing. Like, I remember saying to Tyson, what was it? Something that he did recently. And I think I said, like, was that scary for you? Or was that like when you think of, I know what it was. I was sharing the dance class and I'm picking them up after school and we're driving home. And I said, guys, Mommy has the dance class. I go, I'm kind of nervous and scared. I go, if you guys ever, we've had like, swim classes or art classes or Tyson doing skating or Tyson when you're in kickboxing for a little bit, like, was that scary? He's like, no. Like, it's funny, right? With the kids, for the most part, they don't have that because there's no stories. It's just like, wow, I want to do this. Like, let's go, right? So let's learn from children and go, let's bring that energy of how we used to be as kids too and bring this into our present moment, which is really being in the present moment is what that is, right? Like, oh, that's cool. Let me do that thing. Boom, I'm going to go do it right now. I'm going to go have that conversation with somebody. I'm going to write that thing. I'm going to sign up for this class. I'm going to sign up for this race. I'm going to go apply the Women Who Want to More Retreat Experience January 2020. Seriously, we'll get to there in a second because the deadline to apply, no joke, is actually tomorrow on Friday, January the 10th. And today's the 9th this episode comes out. But do that scary thing. You can. And it is the fastest way to grow more. Like when you have the experience of something, by the way, I know you can listen to this podcast or others and just be like, oh, wow, and your mind's expanded. Me too, right? You can read a book and read something like, wow, like things expand for you. Me too, right? Or listen to or watch something, see a video. But when you experience the thing, it's a completely different experience. It's a completely different pattern of growth. Like the expansion to me is like 1,000-fold because you've experienced it, right? You can take all sorts of driver training classes, but you know that when you learn to drive a car, like you just got to get in the car and do it. So it's the same thing when you have something that you feel inside you they wanted to do and it's scary for you, which by the way, most people feel. There's going to be some kind of anxiety or panicky feeling or like, oh my God, some kind of fear in whatever form it comes that's going to come into you, but it's not a part of you. It's just simply there. It's just simply there. And the only way that you move through it is to move through it and to face it and to do that scary thing. So the next 12 hours, you know what the scary thing is. There's something coming into your mind, into your heart, into your being saying, this is it. You do that in the next 12 hours. Okay, and just see how life begins to have that burst of expansion, just like a firework. Okay, so yes, the Women Who Want to More Retreat Experience, January 2020, is coming up at the end of this month, the end of January 2020. And so the last day to apply is tomorrow, okay, Friday, January the 10th. Here's what you need to do to apply. A lot of you have heard me speak about this many, many times, so I won't go on the whole kind of explanation, but, really just shortly, if you're feeling lost and stuck and don't know who you are and you want to have that firework experience, here's the experience, right? It's called a retreat experience for a reason, for you to be able to get from where you are to where you want to be, have the tools, resources, support around women who are like you in beautiful Victoria, BC, Canada, where I live. And we get to be eyeball to eyeball, and you get to see how fast that expansion can really be when you experience it. Okay, so here's what you need to do to apply, because it is by application only. There's one more spot. I had a certain number that I felt called to have in the group, and then it became a different one. Okay, so there's one spot that's left. Here's what you need to do. You need to text me, 250-589-4811, 250-589-4811, and say, Karen, I'd like to apply for the retreat. Okay, that's it. Easy peasy. And then make sure to check your text back, okay? Because I will respond to you very quickly with this deadline that's here right now, 250-589-4811. Say, Karen, I'd like to apply for the retreat, okay? And if that's not you, which is totally okay, this is not for everybody, but it may just be for you if you're feeling this in this call and this pull inside your heart. But if not, I've created something for everybody else, okay, which is called the More Club. It is for those of you that listen to the podcast and follow the Women Who Want to More movement and say, this is cool. I would like to have more tools, more support, more resources. But this is really, I'm calling it like the after party, right? The after party to the Women Wanting More podcast and movement. So to join the More Club, which is literally, I'm not even kidding you, this is the exact numbers, $2, $5, or $10 a month. And when you go to the link, by the way, which is patreon.com/womenwantingmore, Patreon is patreon.com/womenwantingmore. When you go there, you're going to be like, oh my God, I get all this stuff for like $10 a month or $2 a month, $5 a month, whether it's like bonus podcast episodes that you get to create. It's like creating your own personal podcast of what you need. Mindset video trainings, interviews with powerful female women around the world, female leaders. For example, like my good friend, Jill Ethier, we had a beautiful conversation yesterday on why your energy matters and some real practical tools and how to shift things within your energy, which creates a shift in what you actually see in your outside world. Like, phenomenal conversation we had. What else is inside the More Club? Notes of love and appreciation from me, shout outs on the podcast. I mean, just amazing stuff. You're going to go to patreon.com/womenwantingmore and be blown away from what you get from either $2, $5, or $10 a month. And you get to continue support the Women Wanting More movement. So I can continue to do the podcast 2 days a week, which is my intention, my goal, my commitment to you for 2020. And then the More Club will continue the conversation. So that's at Patreon, patreon.com/womenwantingmore. So I will talk to the next episode, sister. A life of more really is one step away from you doing scary things every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.